All right. We are live. Welcome, family, to another show. It is your man BMT in the building, guys. We got a lot to talk about today in concerns of traveling, flying out. This is one of my favorite times of the year to catch a flight. Right around this October, November time. I know a lot of guys are going to the Dominican Republic. I used to go to the Dominican Republic all the time around this time of the year. But currently, there's a lot of flight cancellations and flight delays, and I'm going to give you guys an update on that as well. We're going to talk about flying in general. A lot of guys are wondering about, flying to Medellin. We'll talk about that as well. So we got a lot to chop it up tonight on this late night stream. What's good, everybody in the room? We got a lot to talk about, man. We have a lot of information to talk about. I want to welcome everybody to the show. I know it's late on the East Coast, almost 9 o'clock, but we're going to chop it up like we always do, man. Welcome to the stream, guys. Before we get started, guys, do me a favor. Make sure you hit that like button. And if I'm coming through loud and clear, I'm not borking out, the audio is good, do me a favor and hit that one button just to let me know. Sometimes I'll be flowing on here for a whole 5 minutes and I'm either muted or having some audio issues. So just let me know before we kick off the stream, is everything coming through loud and crispy for the family? I know a lot of you guys are wondering, like, okay, man, this is, like I said, this is one of my favorite times of the year to fly out. This is like right before the holidays really kick off. And unfortunately, because of a government shutdown, some of you guys might get refunds, apparently. Some of you guys might not. You might have to reschedule. I'm trying to think of a situation I went in when I ever had a flight delayed or canceled. I know I've been through a couple of situations in the airport where the airplane had some, malfunctioning before takeoff. We had to deboard, get another airplane, deboard that airplane. That was with Spirit. Deboard that airplane. I think I was flying to Santiago at the time. So we're going to talk about that, man. We're definitely going to chop it up about that. All right. Before we get to the show, just a few quick announcements. All right. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the Passport Bros Facebook group. All right. Now, recently I've been adminning a little bit more. I was mostly on the Passport Bros app. If you haven't downloaded the Passport Bros app, make sure to download the Passport Bros app. We are releasing V3 at the end of this month. So be sure to look out for that as well. But let me pull up the Facebook group real quick. Hold on. Let me pull up this Facebook group, man. Where we at here? Did I just take it off the screen? No, I think it's right. Hold on, fam. Let me pull up this Facebook group. Oh, it's on here, but how do I pull it up? StreamYard always updating some shit, I swear. Okay, it's right here. All right, it's saying remove. Where do I gotta remove? All right, there we go. All right, I think we right here. All right, so shout out to the Facebook group. Let me take this little post off real quick. As a matter of fact, I'll read it real quick. This was actually a funny little post I had posted in the Facebook group right here. The original Passport Bros Facebook group, by the way. I said a YouTube troll just told me, sit your old ass down. You were born in the 1900s. I thought about it and said, damn, I really was born in another century. That's hard, right? You wouldn't think that, but yeah, 1900s does sound old as shit right now. Still, I always loved the 90s back when women were at least somewhat salvageable. That had a lot of comments, reached about 2,300 people. It was funny. I got my man Andre Love Crossing Borders who commented on it. Travels Unraveled. But shout out to the Passport Bros Facebook group, man. Oh, let me see if I can see. And also, I got to give a rest in power. Before we even kick off the show, man, I got to give a rest in peace to a man that means a lot to me. His birthday was yesterday, actually. Rest in power to Charles Tyler, man. He doesn't get enough credit as credit is due. I know a lot of cats maybe came into this space after his passing, but he was the first brother I learned about, traveling the world, going to Brazil, dating in different countries. He really changed my life As a matter of fact, I remember the conversation we had on the beach. That's me in the middle. It's Charles Tyler on the very right-hand side. We had a great conversation just about, living in the United States in general, living overseas, dating overseas, women overseas. He really helped, me in my transition. Because at that time, I think this had to be around 2015, 2016. This picture was taken in 2017. But it was a lot of manosphere talk, dating coach talk on YouTube. And I just didn't have an understanding because I just felt like we were too far gone in trying to gain women to, submit to our programming basically. So I was looking for a different solution. I didn't like the fact that, guys were streaming, online, talking in circles for 8-hour streams without any solutions. I'm a solution-based brother myself. And Charles Tyler actually was one early on that had a solution for bros. And it was to simply get out of the United States, travel the world. He had a great YouTube channel, one of the biggest Facebook groups, the original Facebook group, the Black Man's Options. He started the Black Man's Option as well. He worked with my guy, Al Grease, a filmmaker. So rest in power to Charles Tyler, man. Like I said, he was dropping game early on in this space. He really was. And it was his birthday yesterday, so rest in power to him. All right, rest in power to Charles, man. Since I'm in Cartagena, pull up Thursday, had no problems other than a long ass line. We're going to talk about that. Matter of fact, we're going to get into that right now. Also, I want to rest in power to my man. My man Cowboy. I call him Cowboy. He had a restaurant. I think he had a bar out here briefly. He passed away as well, man. So rest in power to him too. Before we get on to the show. All right. So speaking of flying into Cartagena, I want to play this clip of my man Giamo. I want to play this clip real quick.
To see it, and I hate to see.
All right, so let's hop right into this. Now, there have been a lot of talks about. I did a whole show about this. I think maybe a week or so ago. I did a show about this, about guys being turned away and sent back home packing in Medellin airport. Medellin's airport. All right. So we're gonna see what my man Giamo has to say. I know DC Born Rob does a lot of reporting on Medellin, and I like DC Born Rob's channel. By the way, I met him personally. He seems like a really cool guy. He definitely gives you the news in Colombia. So let's see what Giamo has to say. The title of the show is the title of the video is "Why DC Born Rob Lied to You About Cartagena, Colombia."
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. DC Born Rob lied to you guys. He lied. He's a liar. I don't want to say he's a liar, but he lied. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to see it, and I hate to see it because he was talking about Medellin, and that if you go to the airport, police officials or airport officials are going to stop you if you go to the airport. If you're a single man, you know what I mean? They might look through your phones, check your photos, check your messages, WhatsApp, all that stuff.
I'm trying to listen to Giamo, but I can't help but to look at the eye candy.
Try to see if you're coming to Medellin for sexual exploitation, trying to see if you're coming to Medellin for pedophile reasons. Which is true. These are facts, and I've known this. It's weird because like the past 2 weeks, people have been talking about this like it's breaking news or something like that. But obviously, it's not really breaking news. I've known about this for months now. They've been doing this. To be honest with you, that's why. Just a little pro tip. I never fly into Medellin on an international flight. I always fly in either from Cartagena or from Bogota on that domestic flight. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? That's just what I do. Now, I have heard that they are checking on the domestic flights, but I can't confirm that one way or the other. But guys, the reason why I'm making this video and I have the issue with DC Born Rob right now, the reason why I have that issue is because of the fact that if he had just kept it at Medellin, I'd be like, cool, that's good information. But guys, he's lying to you about Cartagena. He said that they're doing the same thing at Cartagena. And they're not. They're not doing the same thing at Cartagena, guys. Guys, I just was last week, a week. I'm gonna be honest with you guys.
All right, so Jamo basically says that, you know, Cartagena Airport, and Cartagena is a big tourist destination. I seriously doubt, you know, they're going to be checking through people's phones. Now, I have heard reports of guys being denied. I think it was almost a whole airplane denied at one point in Medellin. Like 60 dudes were denied entry for whatever reason. But for the most part, I don't think that's just, you know, a daily thing for the most part. I think it was maybe trying to prove a point. Maybe that was when, you know, Trump said something negative in the news with the president. I'm not sure, but it was like damn near a whole plane of guys turned away at some point in Medellin. I have confirmed that. But for the most part, Medellin does have this list active. I show this post right here. All right. And a lot of these guys being denied entry have a criminal record for the most part. This post right here says, alert, go home. Thanks to the coordinated work of Migration Colombia, a U.S. citizen who was registered as an ex-offender was denied entry. With his action, there are now 51 people denied entry so far this year. So that's not a lot of people in the large scheme of things. And there's thousands that come in daily, 51 people. We continue working to ensure, and that's from all the countries, by the way. We continue working to ensure these predators don't set foot in our city. Here we protect our children and young girls. Okay, so shout out to Medellin, shout out to Colombia for that. But for the most part, even it was a post, not a post, but a video that DC Born Rob, and I believe some of you guys might have saw it. It was a guy with a whole bunch of sex toys and stuff in his luggage and everything. He didn't necessarily get denied entry because of what he contained in his luggage. It was more so that he was on this angel list, and I don't think DC Born Rob reported that. Maybe I'm wrong. I didn't hear him report that part. But like I said, most of these guys that have been denied entry do have criminal records. Okay, so in general, you should be okay if you still fly into Medellin, Colombia. You should be okay. You know, if you got something, so I still don't know exactly about them going through cell phones, what they would necessarily be looking for in a cell phone, because people have all types of shit in their cell phone. But if it isn't anything, egregious or anything, I think you should still be let through. All right. Yeah, that was confirmed. Actually, one of the top DJs out there in Medellin had a friend that was on that flight, and he said they had denied. And I believe that was right when Trump was, talking a lot of shit about the president. I believe it was right around that time. We got 81 in the room, guys. Do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button for your boy. All right. All right. My man Kane, the digital nomad, go to the RP to Charles Tyler, to John and Jim Thompson, and salute to Al Greaves, the third generation of Black men, non-military that traveled abroad. All right. Actually, I believe Charles was ex-military as well, if I'm not mistaken. I do believe Charles Tyler was ex-military. My man, Islam Najee, I'm in Cartagena, pulled up Thursday, had no problems other than a long-ass line. Speaking of long-ass lines, I know you guys have been seeing videos and hearing news clips. Now, I did hear right before I started the show that, they are coming to some type of resolution to the government shutdown, or a temporary resolution, basically, sending temporary funds to get through the holidays, through the travel season. I did hear about that right before I started the show. But let me play this clip right here, just to kind of give you guys some context, and we'll get right to it. Hold on. Where's this clip at?
Controllers work around the clock.
Here we go.
Close to 10 million people are scheduled to fly each year through more than 19,000 airports across the country. More than 14,000 air traffic controllers work around the clock to manage this crazy amount of air traffic. And every day, over 3 million people fly in and out of U.S. airports.
I got a friend that's an air traffic controller, man. He makes good money, good bank.
So When flights get delayed or canceled, it's not just a simple problem, it's a huge, complex mess that affects everybody. So to help us navigate all of that, we're joined now by Katie Nastro. She is a travel expert with Going.com. Katie, thank you so much for talking to us here. The first thing I wanted to point out is it seems, and I could be wrong here, so please tell me if I am, but it seems like the airlines are doing everything they can by trying to accommodate people with these cancellations and delays.
Yeah, look, airlines had to scramble to enact what flights were going to be on the chopping block, so to speak, within the matter of 24 hours once this FAA mandate was released. So they really are.
Let me know if anybody been to Colombia recently during this shutdown and had their flight delayed. Let me know in the chat.
Trying to prioritize those long haul flights, transcontinental flights, as well as international flights not being impacted. It's really those shorter haul commuter flights that are just maybe too far to drive that really have seen the biggest impacts. But, even with these mandates and the airlines trying their best, there has been a significant amount of overspill. And looking just at yesterday alone was the 4th worst day in cancellations in the last 2 years. So we want people to understand that we are really at the worst of it. And we hope continuing into this week that we do see some resolution, but it is going to be pretty bad for the next 5, 6, 7 days. There's sort of still no end in sight, unfortunately.
All right, so we saw the first effects there, and then we saw the airlines coming out and saying, okay, we're going to work with you, we're going to rebook, we're going to reschedule you. And that's all fine and dandy, but that trickle effect and resuming things can take hours.
Fair use, YouTube, by the way, fair use.
Hours, if not days or weeks.
It's likely going to take days for those of us who have been impacted to either get rebooked or, we might see a lot of folks just opt to not travel and take the refund even ahead of their flight being impacted, which thankfully, most of the airlines are allowing people to do so. They have waivers in place. We typically see this around winter when, a big snowstorm can have a big impact on flights. Now, these waivers are sort of like a golden ticket for people where they can choose to get a refund back to their method of payment or a rebooking. But still, yes, the impacts are going to be felt, not just on those canceled flights, but around more than just those 40 airports that have been impacted.
So what's your best advice then for people who are going to be caught up in this and they don't want to get a raw deal?
We want people to take advantage of the waivers, even if they are planning on traveling or they are thinking maybe I shouldn't be traveling. If you can take that refund and push out your trip a little bit, you might be better off at this point. Just to sort of hedge your bets. If you need to travel, get rebooked on a morning flight. Morning flights have a higher on-time arrival rate versus those afternoon, evening flights that we see really the impacts of the shutdown. And even bad weather in some parts of the country like Detroit really add up towards the end of the day. So
she dropped some game right there. She said always book morning flights.
Try to get on a morning.
Close to 10 million people are scheduled.
Goddamn, hold on.
They are thinking maybe I shouldn't be traveling. If you can take that refund and push out your trip a little bit, you might be better off at this point. Just to sort of hedge your bets. If you need to travel, get rebooked on a morning flight. Morning flights have a higher on-time arrival rate versus those afternoon, evening flights that we see really the impacts of the shutdown. And even bad weather in some parts of the country like Detroit really add up towards the end of the day. So try to get on a morning.
All right, so she pretty much drops. It says, and I got my man who Chalupi said, who says he's an air traffic controller right here. He says they are not messing with the international flights, only your connection to the flight that leaves the U.S. All right. All right, so I got another person here that gives a little game about this as well, some information. Hold on. Let me play her clip.
Now that they are cutting time.
Here we go. As a matter of fact, before I show her, let me just show you some of the airports that are affected with the most cancellation delays. Now, this is the top 10, but Hartsfield Atlanta Airport was had a lot of cancellations as well. I think just today alone, they had like 200 something cancellations and 500 delays. All right, so these are some of the top airports. If you guys might be flying out, just might want to keep that in mind. Like I said, I know some of you guys want to head down to Colombia, head down to the DR. All right, so Chalupe 71 says Fly Out International Airlines, Copa, Avianca, LATAM, they are not being forced to reduce flights. All right. I know a lot of guys. Copa is actually pretty decent. I flew Copa and Avianca, actually. I flew all these airlines. All right. Now, that Miami one's going to hit for a lot of guys that are going to Medellin from Miami. All right. Number 9, LaGuardia Airport. I know a lot of guys are leaving New York to get down to the DR around this time. See they chicas. Somebody says Copa definitely reduced flights. Somebody says, I don't know the debate. I gotta check that out, man. But I appreciate that, Ray Hannah Force. There's a debate. I don't know who Andrew Wilson is, but Coach Greg Adams. Shout out to Coach Greg Adams, man. I think he just went to Columbia, so shout out to him. Hopefully he enjoyed himself out there in the city of Eternal Spring. All right, let's get to what she says for a solution.
Travel soon, your flight might be canceled. The Department of Transportation just announced that they are cutting 10% of flights starting on Friday at the top 40 airports because of the government shutdown. So that's like 4,000 flights a day. Don't worry, I'm Mrs. Dow Jones, Millennial Finance Expert. I'm going to show you exactly what to do if your trip is affected. Number 1, make sure that you are tracking your flights and you have travel alerts set up. Shutdown cancellations often happen way before you even get to the airport. So you want to make sure that there's a way for your airline to contact you. Number 2, know your refund rights. If an airline cancels your flight, you are legally entitled to a full refund. Yes, even on a non-refundable ticket during a government shutdown. And you may want to do this instead of rebooking just because right now it's a tough time to travel. Number 3, check the DOT dashboard. The Department of Transportation has an amazing website. You can click your airline from their drop-down menu and it shows you exactly what you're owed if the airline cancels your flight. However, this is for during normal disruptions. Government shutdown is unprecedented and not the airline's fault. They might not honor this, but it's still worth knowing about and checking. And honestly, it makes sense that this is all happening. Air traffic controllers haven't been paid in a month. They have families, they have bills. You wouldn't work for free either. And running the system understaffed is super dangerous. So basically the shutdown needs to end. And if you don't have to travel right now, you might not want to just because it's going to be a bit of a shit show. Follow for more and stay rich.
You heard what she has to say.
Travel soon, your flight might be canceled. The Department of Transportation just announced that they are cutting 10% of flights starting on Friday at the top 40 airports because of the government shutdown. So that's like 4,000 flights a day. Don't worry, I'm Mrs. Dow Jones, Millennial Finance Expert. I'm going to show you exactly what to do if your trip is affected. Number 1, make sure that you are tracking your flights and you have travel alerts set up. Shutdown cancellations often happen way before you even get to the airport. So you want to make sure that there's a way for your airline to contact you. Number 2, know your refund rights. If an airline cancels your flight, you are legally entitled to a full refund. Yes, even on a non-refundable ticket during a government shutdown. And you may want to do this instead of rebooking just because right now it's a tough time to travel. Number 3, check the DOT dashboard. The Department of Transportation has an amazing website. You can click your airline from their drop-down menu and it shows you exactly what you're owed if the airline cancels your flight. However, this is for during normal disruptions. Government shutdown is unprecedented and not the airline's fault. They might not honor this, but it's still worth knowing about and checking. And honestly, it makes sense that this is all happening. Air traffic controllers haven't been paid in a month. They have families.
All right. So let me get some of these comments real quick. All right, shout out to Chalupe 71 says the real problem is that TSA and ATC just missed their second paycheck this week. So those people are pissed. It's hard to justify going to work when they give you 2 pay stubs and say $0. Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy. But aren't they getting technically? I mean, can they not file for unemployment benefits? At least if they're not getting paid from the government. Shalipa 71 says so. The Secretary of Transportation did a preemptive move and forced U.S. airlines to reduce flights. This is crazy. This is crazy, family. This is crazy. All right, so let me double back real quick because I want to show you guys something. Hold on. as far as flying to Medellin. Let me pull this up because I've heard some guys say they had no issues on entry, and I've heard some guys say they have had issues. Shout out to my man J Rags. All right, let me pull this up real quick. Let me move this from the screen. Where's that at? All right. So this is the Facebook group right here. All right, it says, what's the update with Medellin? Are they going through phones at custom entries or not? One guy said, yes, it's happening. Colombians are tired of passport bros, quote unquote. Too many dummies gave us a bad name. Also, Colombians are low-key very xenophobic. Everybody's xenophobic at this point, bro. Pies is 90%. Y'all don't speak Spanish. Okay, yada, yada, yada. Somebody says they are still going through phones and turning men away. Yes, this is true. All right. At this point, I would just check the phone. Check your main phone. All right. So somebody says, nah, that was all BS. It could happen, but it's not something they're doing as standard practice. It's no more likely to happen now that it was than any other year. One guy says, I just came back. They didn't go through my phone. Some people are getting denied entry. Somebody said, I heard 2 people being denied entry within the last 2 weeks. So it's a little bit of give and take. Shout out to International Zoe in the building. She says, I think the cancellations are mostly for domestic flights. I'm at the airport now, headed out to New York on LATAM, and things seem normal to me. Yeah, I actually heard that too. I heard that most of the international flights are okay. Should Be 71 says they gave us 2 IOUs for the last 40 days. What the hell is the IOU, bro? Please. That's crazy. You know, people work for government agencies because they anticipate that they'll have steady income. It's the U.S. government. That is crazy, man. Somebody said they gave us 2 IOUs for the last 40 days. That is crazy. That is crazy, man. Cornhill says, I was in Cartagena in May and no issues. All right. So it looks like from the comments, all right, as far as, flying into Medellin, it's kind of give or take, just be mindful that they are, pulling guys' cell phones and stuff like that. I don't know exactly what type of content. I mean, I can imagine what type of content they're looking for on someone's cell phone, but, WhatsApp chats and stuff like that. And as far as the cancellations of flights, most of them are going to be domestic. They're not really messing with the international flights like that. So that's actually pretty good news for the guys that plan on traveling during the holiday season. All right. So, guys, once again, it's been a quick show. Just wanted to tap in real quick to speak on that. We are out, man. Peace.